What is up, fellas and lady fellas? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, I'm starting a new series on the channel, and this one's going to be a little different than how I think they're going to go, how I'd like them to go, in the future. But at least for this week, we're going to be doing it this way. So I want to start doing locals reports. Long story short, I just want to do locals reports, which is just like literally I go to my locals. Before I go, I want to record like the first half of the video, which is just me going through the deck that I'm playing, any changes I've made since like the previous week, all that stuff, just talking about what I'm expecting meta-wise, and just do a quick rundown of the deck, what I'm expecting, and my prior thoughts. And then it'll cut in the same video to the second half, which will be after everything is said and done, talking about my matchups, the round by round, any problems the deck had, any strengths the deck had, what I would change, all that stuff into one. Unfortunately for this week, I literally tried to do that, but both files got corrupted. I think I figured out why and what the problem was. So for this week alone, I'm going to be doing it post commentary, which is I've already played everything out. I've already done everything. So I'm going to be doing it all post, but hopefully for the weeks to come, I'll be able to do the first half telling, my prior thoughts and then my thoughts afterwards, which would be the ideal situation. But I think I have that figured out. Just this week will be different. We'll be doing it all in one fell swoop. So without further ado, Locals was on Wednesday. I know this is Friday, so it's a little late, but I didn't find out that the files were corrupted until Thursday in the morning when I tried to do all this stuff, and so that's when I found out, and it was a little bit too late, and then I had work and stuff. So we're doing this on Friday, but ideally I'd like to be either doing it Wednesday night after I finish Locals or Thursday during the day, just the next day, everything like that. So that would ideally be the situation, but as far as for this week, let's get started. This is the deck I've been playing for the most recent. It's Subterrors. I've been playing them for a while. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know I'm a pretty big Subterror fan. It's a really good control deck. Yeah, let's just get into the list. I don't need to just explain to you Subterrors. They've been around for a while at this point. So, starting with the list, the basic stuff, the super no explanation needed stuff: 3 Subterror Guru, 3 Fiendus, 1 Archer, and 1 Umastrix. I wouldn't really change this stuff. Like, some people mess around with like the idea of taking out either Archer or Umastrix, but I really wouldn't. I think they come up, and you can side Umastrix going second, and just go from there. For the rest of the monsters, 3 Ash and 3 Crow. Ash is pretty standard, but Crow is something a little different. You don't usually see that in Subterrors. It's just been a while, but Crow's just so good against almost everything. We'll talk about that a little later on. Almost everything. But it's really good. It's just a pretty good card right now. Even though I think after this event I will consider moving this to something else, potentially. Or taking 1 copy out at least, so we're not drawing multiples in bad matchups. For the spells, we got 3 Hidden City, 1 Terraforming, so 4 Hidden City. It's the best card in the deck. Literally, some people say Guru's the best card in the deck, Fiendus is the best card in the deck, Final Battle's incredible. City's the best card in the deck because City is a Guru plus a Fiendus, or a Guru plus a Final Battle. And that's what makes it insane. It's like it gives you 2 of those other cards that are arguably the best card in the deck. Insane. 3 Pot of Extravagance, Pot of Greed. 3 Pot of Duality, really good pot. Some people don't like this card at 3, but I do like it at 3. It lets you see your side deck more. This is one of those decks where if you don't see City and you don't see Guru, you're probably looking at a pretty weak hand. So I like maxing out on this because we're just trying to find those if possible. And if you don't have those, you're just looking for the final piece that makes your board unbeatable. You know what I mean? You look at the top 3 cards of your deck, you're like, oh, a Judgment. So even if you have a Twin Twisters, you're going second deck with Lightning Storm, you grab that, and my board is completely safe. 3 Call by the Grave. This card's also pretty solid. It's just, this deck is City's the best card in the deck. You really want that to resolve. Extravagance, very powerful if it resolves. Basic stuff, and then it's just good generically as just a utility card after that, stopping being just graveyard disruption for your opponent. For the traps, though, 3, there can only be 1. Not going to explain that. 2 Final Battle. Some people like this at 3, but I would see too many hands with it recently at 3 where I wouldn't see a Subterror card, no City, no Guru, and I'd see this, and it's literally just a dead card in hand, and it's just so bad. So I decided to drop it down to 2, and it's been really good at 2. I haven't been seeing those hands as often, and it's still super searchable, and you still draw it as a 2 of. You just hope you see it with either a Guru or a City at those points. 2 Impermanence. I think I would consider playing a 3rd Impermanence and taking Crow down to 2. Still think Crow is good, but I think Impermanence is more generically good versus all matchups, and this is locals, keep that in mind, so we're going to be playing more rogue stuff. 2 Compulse. This is something kind of new for my list. I was playing Crackdown in this place before this, and I just decided to make the swap now just to try it out. I was tired of Crackdown getting punished, where you take a monster, you're not able to flip it down immediately, and if your opponent can extend into a Phoenix, a Unicorn, just has back row removal in any way, shape, or form, they just get their monster back for free, and you just went -1, which is really bad. So this doesn't get punished like that. Almost every deck in the format plays extra deck stuff, other than like the mirror match, and I guess Altergeist. Like every other deck in the format, like this is really good against. And then to finish up, 2 Solemn Strike, 2 Judgment. I thought this was the perfect median, not too many Solemns where if you do lose the die roll game 1, you're just like a handful of Solemns, and that's not amazing. And then going first, it's enough where you do have a good chance to see 1 or 2 of these in your opening hand, which is what you want. They're really good. Then to the extra deck. So obviously this is Subterrors. You're going to see a lot of Super Poly targets. 3 Starving Venom, 1 Trifia Veritum, 1 Dragus Stapelia, 1 Violet Chimera, 2 Duplexer Chimera, 2 Mud Dragon, and 2 World Chalice Guard Dragon Almerduk. Quick explanation on these. Not going to explain Starving Venom. Trif is just high ceiling. If a deck does happen to have 3 darks on the board, you just win the game if you resolve into this. Dragus Stapelia is for Shaddoll Invoked. Because you can go for this or you can go for Starving Venom, but this card is actually a negate on board, so you rip their board apart and then it's a negate as they try to if they try to push through it from there or have any kind of play after that, it does also stun them out. So I did like that as an option. This is mainly for Sally's, but we do have like a Marine Cess player and it's local, so I think the possibility of like adding Nisters or like Mathmex is there, so I'm playing these because it hits all of those, but also still hits Sally's if you need a target and you do Extravagance away the Violet Chimera. These are fine. They rip their board apart, and they're still a big enough beater that Sunlight Wolf can't get over. Mud Dragon comes up in random situations, random decks. Madolches are like one, and I guess random other decks that just weirdly they just end up in a weird board state, and it's like exactly what makes Mud Dragon. And then Almerduk is mainly for spirals. They do leave 4 links on the board, so you can just rip almost everything except for the sleeper. And that's mainly it. And there are other situations where it theoretically could come up. Usually it's just going to be for spiral. And then finishing off the extra deck, Link Karibo, Asa, and Unicorn. Asa, just your whole deck is Earth, so this is theoretically makeable. It's more cute than anything. Unicorn can randomly come up in like random situations, and Link Karibo is actually I think all Subterror lists should be playing Link Karibo right now, because dinosaurs are on the up and up, and they love the Lost World build, and the Lost World build is a kick in the nuts for this deck. If they give you that token, you can't target anything. So Guru can't flip anything down. Umistrix can't banish anything. What else? I think it's just on the field. So Impermanence can't negate anything. Compulse can't bounce anything. Like literally Solemns are like your only out in that situation, or you'd have to like super poly them, which they're not the easiest deck to super poly. They can be, but they're not the easiest to. So Link Karibo gets rid of that token immediately, so you just don't even have to worry about that targeting protection anymore, which is super important. I highly recommend playing at least 1 Link Karibo here. And then for the side deck, starting with the monsters, 2 Droll, 1 Pank. We're already playing 8 hand traps in the main, so like I didn't feel like Droll was a must at 3 in the side. Just because we already have enough going second, like decent hand traps going second against the decks this would be good against. 1 Pankratops. I really like this going second, especially against rogue decks, because this just gives you so much immediate board presence that the deck really doesn't do. The deck just doesn't assemble great board presence fast. So this is like immediate, right in your opponent's face, a big problem for a lot of decks. 3 Super Poly. This card is incredible. Not even going to explain that. 2 Cyclone and 2 Heavy Storm Duster. This is like just extra back row hate. If I do play another like stun, control-ish type matchup, Altergeist, the mirror match, these are the cards I want there. Cosmic Cycle is better second, specifically against decks like Sally's. If they have one of the traps, you could just immediately bait the trap out, and you don't have to worry about them raging like a Guru and a City, and then just like you're just like up shit's creek. Yeah, and then this is just good, like Pendulums going first. You just wipe their scales really early, and then their resources are so deplenished. 2 2 evenly matched. This card's also really nice. I'm not going to explain evenly. 2 summon limit. This is actually a really spicy card. I don't really see often in Subterror lists, but it's going first when there can only be one is already an auto win versus like multiple decks. This card is just an additional auto win. So if they do have the Twin Twisters or Cosmic Cyclone or Phoenix pop, that there can only be one, then you flip summon limit, or vice versa if you had summon limit and then flip that. 2 of them is almost unoutable unless they like lightning stormed your entire board, which doesn't happen that often because you end up with Fienduses, you have 3 Solemn Judgments, you have ways around that. So this is just an alternate win condition, really powerful card going first. You side out weaker hand traps going first because like you don't need them. And then this is like an auto win, whereas those are more mid-range cards. And then the 3rd Solemn Judgment. When you know you're going first, you want to shut down every Lightning Storm, every Denko second normal summon, every Lightning Storm, every Twin Twisters. Like, that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much the list. Try to go through pretty quick. I think I might be able to slim that down. I'll get better at trimming that down and making that a little quicker. But now let's move into the post-tournament results. So, in round 1, I played against a really cool guy, Conrad. He was playing 6 Samurais, and I think it's a little bit tough for him because he loses the die roll, and that's mostly all she wrote. Game 1 is super simple. I have there can only be one. He can never put more than 1 monster on the field, and I just beat him down really quick. That game's like 7 minutes long. Game 2, he goes first. I do not draw a hand trap, and he Zexalocks me. I did not really know that that's what 6 Samurais wanted to do, but I found out pretty quick. And so he takes game 2 pretty convincingly. I had him evenly in hand, but I didn't know what he wanted to do, and he just turns off evenly for the entire turn, and he was just going to OTK me on the next turn. So I was like, yeah, that's it. And then game 3 is just pretty basic. I set 3 traps. I have a Fiendus in hand, and like that's going to be it. Like they can't. A deck like that's too fragile to break through that. So yeah, pretty easy, convincing game 1. So we are 1-0 at that point. Game 2, we actually play against probably the best player at our locals, the consensus best player at our locals, Brandon Weathersby. He's actually really well-known Pendulum player, really good player, pretty cool guy too. I haven't talked to him that much, but he's nice, he's helpful. He'll talk to you about pendulums, any advice you want, whatever. Yeah, this one was pretty brutal. I get 2-0'd super quick. He wins the die roll. He goes first. The only hand trap I open is DD Crow, and he sets up like double Jackal King, double Master Endymion with the the field spell that if you have a spellcaster, your opponent can't activate spells, and he ends on that as well. So I don't even activate a card. I'm literally like, scoop. His hand actually was really mediocre. He even admitted too. He's like, my hand was like ass. He's like, if you had 1 Ash, I lost this duel, and unfortunately I had the DD Crow instead. So we go to game 2. We side everything. I side my basic going first stuff, and I break. I mean, like pretty much. It's like I have like 3 traps, a hand trap, and a Called by the Grave. Not a Called by the Grave because I didn't keep Called by the Grave in. What did I have? I think I duality'd, but I didn't duality into a monster or a city. And so I just end up setting a couple back row. I stall him for 2 turns, and he breaks through pretty quick. So eventually, like 2 or 3 turns later, I draw a Guru, but it's just 1 turn too late. I needed him 1 turn earlier, and it just is what it is. So we wrap that up. We move on. Quick 2-0. So we're 1-1 at this point, which is unfortunate. A little earlier than I'd like it to be, but whatever. We move on to game 3, where I play Luna Lights, and this one was like the exact opposite last round, where I win the die roll, I go first, and I wax him. I have 2, there can only be ones. He outs 1. I flip the second one, and he's like, that's it, let's just go game 2. I can't out 2. I can barely out 1 in this deck, and 2's too much. Then we go game 2. He goes first. He sides in a lot of back row heat, he admitted, and he bricked on him. He opened like 2 Cosmic Cyclones and a Twin Twister going first, and I had a hand trap. I think I ashed him on the Perfume, and he's just like, that's it. He literally just ended with 1 monster on the board, and like he set a Twin Twister. And then I have a Fiendus in hand already, so I end up Fiendusing the Twin Twister, so he doesn't even get to wipe any back row. And he's like, that's it. I have like no cards on field, barely any useful cards in grave, and I have no cards in hand. He's like, that's going to be it. You got 5 cards on the field. So that one was super, super quick. That was like a 14-minute round there, so we mopped that one up. So we're 2-1 at this point. We move into round 4, where we face a guy I've played once before a while ago. Cool guy though, fun to duel. You know those people that are just fun to duel. They're upbeat. They're They're good at taking losses. They're good at winning. It's all that stuff. He's playing Altergeist though, which is an awkward matchup. I don't think either deck particularly has a better or worse matchup in this case. I think they're kind of it's more just awkward because we're both designed to stop combo decks more than anything. And so neither of us are that. So game one's a little awkward, but I do end up taking game one. I think it's just a little bit grindy. I think he was like one card away from like popping off, and I think he made a small misplay in there somewhere. And it was a close one, but I was able to run away with it after grinding for a little bit. And then game two, he goes first. I don't open any hand traps, but his hand is not amazing. He ends up having to duality into a Meluseek, just normals the Meluseek and leaves it there. And so I'm able to... What did I do? He used... what did he use? I can't even remember exactly what happened, but I pretty much like called by the grave the Meluseek after I went to grave. I don't remember how it got there, but that's what happened. And then he doesn't get the search, and he never gets into a monster after that. And then eventually I like heavy Storm Duster, but like the last two of his back row, and he runs out of resources. Eventually finds Multi-Faker though, like way later, and like I'm able. He summons it, and when he uses effective special, I use Guru's quick effect to flip it down. So when he gets Quicious, he doesn't have another Altergeist to bounce with. So its effects are turned off, and the next turn I just go battle phase and beat over both of them, and then that's pretty much the end of the duel. I just kind of run away with advantage from there. So yeah, quick 2-0 again of Altergeist. Not super quick, but it was like probably 25-minute round. So we're 3-1 at this point, feeling pretty good going into the last round. Just need one more win, and we are guaranteed a top 4-1 will always be top 4. Yeah, so we go into round 5, and we're playing a player. He was friends with the guy I played in the last round that, I haven't seen pretty much since the same tournament I played the last guy at, so it's been a long while. And the last time I played him, he was playing Speedroids. This time he's on Dinosaurs, which I don't even think it's a bad matchup, but it's just I've had bad luck with it. So pretty much game one, I end up getting the win. It's an awkward, grindy match. I win the die roll. I go first. He almost breaks through me. He has a ton of extenders, and I get really nervous towards the end of it that he was going to be able to actually do it. And I am able to like wiggle it out at the end. I had just enough disruptions where like he ends up with like no cards in hand. He has like one beater on the board, and then I just end up dealing with that with like final battle. Guru just beating over it, and then he just doesn't have any cards after that, and I'm just able to get out of that fairly okay. And then game two, I wasn't sure what he wanted to do because some dinosaur players, siding is awkward with dinosaur players because sometimes, with this deck specifically, sometimes the dinosaur players will be like, my deck is a going second, surefire deck. I'm just going to go second, and I'm just going to turbo through your board. That's what I believe in. And then there are also dinosaur players that are like, I design my deck where it can also do some plays going first. So yeah, that's what he ends up doing is he does take first. I sided conservatively because I didn't want to overside for going first and then have to go second, and I didn't want to overside going second and then have to go first. So I just keep like the good hand traps in. I side out some cards that are like mostly useless in the matchup, and like I wrongly side Droll. I don't think Droll is the right play. He doesn't end up opening Fossil Dig, which is the ideal situation for Droll, but he does end up opening Oviraptor, so he Oviraptor searches. I Droll him there, and I had Impermanence, but I decided not to Impermanence there, and on the Oviraptor, and I should have, because he gets Miscellaneous Source, and he just pops off all the way, and because of the Miscellaneous Source, like, my Imperm doesn't do anything for the rest of the turn, so I definitely should have Impermed the Oviraptor immediately, and I think that changes, and I think I might just win that duel from there, so that's a big misplay on my part. It is what it is. He ends up grinding it out. He sets up a good enough board, and he gives me a token off of the Lost World, and I just can't deal with anything. I can't target anything, and that's a huge problem for my deck, so I just end up scooping it up immediately, and heading into game 3, where I do go first again. It's an okay board. It's not an amazing hand, but I do have Guru. I do have I think a Phoenix in hand, 3 back row, and like it's a pretty good hand, but not amazing. And he has a boatload of extenders, a ton of extenders. Like every card in his hand was an extender. He activates Oviraptor, I judge him, or I strike it. So he loses normal summon, and he doesn't get the search off, and so he's kind of in a fresh pickle there. But he does end up being able to get to the True King, the new one, Lithosagem, and pop a baby for it. So he does get another special off of that. And then I have to activate. He ends up with like a Petit Pteranodon and an Oviraptor on field, so I end up using. There can be only one there, so he has to send one. He sends the Oviraptor, and he pops the Petit Pteranodon somehow to get a Pankratops. I've already used Fiendus. He Pankratops pops my Guru that's face down, and then he just attacks me for 25 with the True King. So he literally just has True King on board, and I have like 3 back row, a city, and no monsters with no cards in hand. And so I'm like, I just need a monster. I could get a Fiendus to revive the Guru back, and that gets my whole engine going again. I could get another city, because that just searches Guru, or I just open Guru. I literally had like 8 copies of cards in my deck that like got me there. I draw 1. It's a duality. I activate the duality. It's like trap, another duality. I grab the second duality, and I'm like, I'll take my chances. I'll eat a little more damage, and next turn we'll get it. So he draws a card. It's a dead card. He hits me for 25 and passes immediately. I top deck Solemn Strike. It's okay because I activate the second duality, and it's Judgment, the third duality, and Extravagance. And I just bow my head and I say, "Good game, brother." I was like, there's nothing I can do there, I don't think. I don't know. There might have been a misplay in there. It might be a small one that ends up being a big one because of it leaves me in that situation. Either way, I had a really good chance to draw any out, and I just didn't. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. I'm not super beat up about it. I was just, in the moment, I was like, oh, no, that's the difference between topping. I have you out card advantage by like 4 cards, and I just can't see a monster. And I was like, it is what it is. You made the play that gave you a chance to win, whether it was small or large. You had a chance to win, and it did end up coming through, and I just didn't have the luck on those draws. So it was what it was, and yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was a good back and forth. So we do end up going 3-2 for the total day. Yeah, I think it was pretty good. I mean, before this, so I went 3-2 last week, then I went 4-1 before that. So we're 10-5 with Subterrors in 3 weeks. I'll take it. It's pretty good. Although I think I definitely could have done a little better. I think there was definitely some misplays here and there for me that could have wiggled me out of some of these losses, but that's okay. We're doing this because we're learning. I think next week I might try and take a different deck. I'm not sure. Definitely leave in the comments down below what you guys think of, what you think in terms of a deck I should play. And yeah, as far as the list goes, I think the list is good. I only saw Compulse maybe 2 or 3 times, but it was good pretty much all 2 or 3 times. So I don't think I would like joke around with it. I don't think I'd really mess around with it too much. So I think it was all good, seriously. So yeah, maybe DD Crow. I guess like the DD Crow thing. Drop DD Crow to 2 and put like Imperm to 3. I still think the side's really good. Every time I side, I feel pretty confident, and it always comes through. I do actually have a pretty good, even going second record with this deck. And yeah, I think it's just good. I think I'm at a good spot in the deck, just maybe with the DD Crow. Little movement there. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, it's a little long, it's a little unrefined. I'm doing it all post, so next week hopefully it can be a little bit different, a little bit better for you in that regard. And I'm kind of just rambling as well, but yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. I'm really curious to see what you guys think about this. If that's something you want me to do every week at locals, give you my thoughts and the deck I'm playing and all that stuff. And I think next week I might look at playing Trap Tricks, because they've been like tickling my pickle lately. I know they get like a good little buff after Attorney Code, but I still want to try them out now because I still think they're pretty good at the moment. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, and let me know what decks you think I should play in the future coming up to these next up locals week to week. So I'll see you in the next one. I'll probably be doing this for sure next week, and I'll see you then. Peace. Such an idiot.